is Monica. I am an OET and IELTS trainer, and in this video today, we are going to look at reading extracts from official OET papers and learn vocabulary words that we often don't take notice of. Now, these vocabulary words could be simple words that you don't know the meaning of, or these could be collocations or even idioms. Remember, collocations and idioms are those words which are easily understandable and very natural to the native English speaker, but not as easily understandable for us non-native speakers. So these vocabulary words we are going to learn with the help of simple examples and explanations. We're also going to look at how these words can also be used in your OET writing and speaking. Now, the big question is this video going to be helpful for you? Should you watch this video? Well, in that case, please understand this video is going to be helpful for those students whose vocabulary is not the best, due to which they have a hard time understanding the meaning of paragraphs. And remember, if you misunderstand the meaning of your paragraph, no method in the book can actually help you find the right answer then. And this is why I'm going to keep this video short for your benefit and your attention span, but more such videos are going to follow. This video is also a helpful resource for those students who don't have the time themselves to look at reading extracts and write the word and meaning and use it in different examples. So I hope you find this video helpful today. As you can see, the word myriad means a countless or extremely large number of people or things. So it can be used to describe people, it can be used to describe things as well. The city offers myriad opportunities. That means the city is offering countless opportunities, so many opportunities for entertainment and culture. She faced a myriad of challenges in her career. That means she faced so many challenges that you can count them as basically countless. In the paragraph, in the context of the sentence, if we read, it says that millions of people who suffer sleep problems also suffer myriad health burdens. So we now know myriad means countless. So it means that people who suffer from sleep problems also suffer from countless other health issues or health burdens or health problems. This is clearly comparing that if you're having sleep issues, you're also going to be having so many other health problems. Being in a state of distress means that you're feeling very upset, worried, or that you're in pain. Any of these can actually put you in a state of distress. But it depends what kind of distress you're in. For example, if you're in pain, but physically you are in pain, then we can say that you are in physical distress. But emotionally, if you're very upset or very worried, you're suffering from anxiety, then we can say that you're in emotional distress. You can see the example of financial distress here as well. But in your OET speaking, we often see physical and emotional distress from our patients. And that's why when our patients show us that they are in a situation, they are in a distressing situation, we should show them empathy. We should use statements which show that we understand how they're feeling at the moment. And that's why the word distress can come in handy for you in your OET speaking. You can say that, I understand it has been quite distressing for you to deal with this. I can only imagine how distressing it has been for you. So for your patient, if they say or they tell you, let's imagine you're a doctor or a nurse, this is perfectly fine for both of these scenarios. They tell you, the nurse, I don't know what to do. My son is just 1 year old, and to see him like this is just heartbreaking for me. Then as a doctor, you can use this empathizing statement. Well, I understand it has been quite distressing for you to see your son in this situation. The word impairment means that you are in a state in which you are not at your best. Again, it means that your ability to do something or your function or the quality of something is decreased, diminished, it is weak, or it is damaged. So it's not the best state. The word impairment is actually used in combination with so many other different terms in your healthcare context. You might hear about cognitive impairment, speech impairment, motor impairment, hearing impairment, neurological impairment, visual impairment. All of these words, or all of these collocations, I should say, all of these collocations' meaning should be extremely clear to you. Why? Because they are not just used in your reading passages, but they are very commonly used in doctors' role play cards, and more than that, in OET writing letters. So even if you're a nurse or you're a doctor, this kind of word is going to be very common in your OET writing case notes. So cognitive impairment here means that there is a decline in your memory, in your decision making skills, or in your other thinking skills, which is why in the paragraph that we were just reading, you saw the word cognitive impairments, not cognitive impairment. So it can refer to a bunch of different things, but it essentially means your brain's thinking skills, its skill for receiving information, processing it, that is weak or is declining day by day. For example, mild cognitive impairment can be an early sign of dementia. Hearing impairment, I think, would be the easiest to understand. When your hearing is not at its best, either you are completely not able to hear or you have partial hearing loss. So, for example, children with hearing impairment may require hearing aids or cochlear implants. Again, this is very common for you to get in a school nurse case note, because school nurses are dealing with children. So you can get this very easily there. Visual impairment refers to partial or complete loss of vision. Either you're not able to see completely, you're completely blind, or you are able to see only partially, just a little bit. Motor impairment is also very common in your OET writing case notes, because you will often receive information about patients who have suffered from stroke or other kinds of health conditions like cerebral palsy, and as a result, they have motor impairment. So this means that you are having difficulties with movement and coordinating things with your body. Speech impairment is also then again very common in children to have. So when you have difficulties in speaking clearly. And that's why, again, you can see it in the case notes of children. Speech impairment in children may require therapy with a speech language pathologist. Then, functional impairment. It means that you're very limited in performing your daily activities. That could be due to a multiple reasons or all of the previous combined, but it just refers to you not being able to do your daily activities as best as you would like to. So functional impairment in elderly patients can be assessed using their activities of daily living or using daily living scales. Developmental impairment, it means that there is a delay. It's happening rather slowly, or that there are difficulties in your development milestones. This is again very common in children, because children are a developing breed. So when they are not able to develop as normally as other children, we may say that they have developmental impairment. For example, early intervention is crucial. Crucial means important for children with developmental impairments. Lastly, neurological impairment. It means the dysfunction of the nervous system. It's not functioning as it should be. So multiple sclerosis is a disease that causes neurological impairment. So variable is a noun actually. So when you call something a variable, it means that it is in their nature to change and that they can change or vary. So the word vary is also very important here. Vary is the verb form. variable is the noun form. When you're trying to use it as a verb, you will say that it can change or it can vary. So, for example, the temperature outside can vary throughout the day. In the morning, it could be cool, in the evening, it could be cool, but in the afternoon, it could be very warm outside, right? So, the temperature can vary. So, in this case, I can call the temperature a variable because it can change. The cost of groceries, for example, can vary from week to week. This week, it might be that you are getting your mangoes for 200 rupees per kilo, but in the next week, you might be getting them for 400 rupees per kilo. Who knows, right? So here, the cost of groceries or the expense of groceries becomes a variable. It's not something which is very important, but this is very commonly used in your reading passages. So you should be aware of. The word affected is actually the second form of the verb affect. So when I say or use the word affect, it means that I'm saying that it impacts or it influences or it changes something. If I say it affects me, it changes me, it influences me, or it impacts me. In what way, positive, negative, that's a different matter. So the example says the weather affected our travel plans. How it affected our travel plans, that I do not know. Maybe it affected it in a positive way or it affected in a negative way. Maybe I changed my flight, or maybe because it started raining, so I stopped to actually consider whether I should be going out or not. So it can affect in negative and in positive ways. Because the word affect actually means to impact or influence something, they can be changed, they can be used interchangeably together. The weather impacted our travel plans, the weather influenced our travel plans. Now, another example here says that when I was a child, my weekly pocket money was influenced or affected by my parents' mood. It means that if my parents were in a good mood, I would get a lot of pocket money. If my parents were not in a good mood, I might not get any pocket money, right? Now, that's a different meaning I'm going with, but it definitely affected or influenced my pocket money that I received due to my parents' mood. In the context that you have here, that says that in the studies we have done, almost every variable we measured was affected. So every variable that they were actually studying was influenced. And why was it influenced? Due to the sleep. So due to sleep, it was affected, influenced, impacted, it changed in some way. So I'm pretty sure this is one phrase that all of you would already be aware of. In addition to means that I am adding further information or I am listing additional items. But the reason why I'm highlighting is for the usage of in addition to in your OET writing actually. Because in your OET writing, you write formally. It is essentially a formal letter. So you're not supposed to be using any informal phrases for linking two sentences together. So you should not be starting your sentences in OET letters with the word also, right? And with the word furthermore, moreover, rather, OET prefers if you use the word or the phrase in addition to. And here are some examples you can see for it. A known OET example says that in addition to studying for her exams, Nisha also works part-time. So she studies for her exams and she works part-time. So I've combined these two using in addition to doing one task, comma, she does the other task. This can also be written using OET examples. For example, he was prescribed metformin. In addition to this, in addition to what? This, what I have written in the previous sentence. That is, in addition to metformin, or in addition to this, physiotherapy was commenced to facilitate his range of motion. That is one way of using it. You can use it in another structure saying, in addition to lifestyle changes, he was also advised to lose weight. So he was advised to do some lifestyle changes as well, but he was also advised to lose weight. Then again, we can use it in simple form in addition. You can say in addition, you can say in addition to this, that's perfectly fine. Kindly monitor his blood pressure. In addition, you are requested to inform his parents about his transfer. So I'm asking the reader that please monitor his blood pressure, but also inform his parents about his transfer. So I can use this formal phrase when I want to add additional information or similar kind of information for the reader. But remember, I should not be using the word also to begin that information. Remember, also word is perfectly fine if you use it in the middle of your sentence. She also requires this. Correct, no problem. But use in addition to show the relationship between two sentences, which is of additional information. So a common refrain is a collocation actually, which means that some sort of sentiment, idea, or theme is reoccurring. So it means it is repeated again and again and again over time. So for example, here in this sentence, a common refrain among sleep scientists about 2 decades ago, that means this was a common discussion which was happening again and again and again, or this was a common topic of discussion among sleep scientists about 2 decades ago. So it just does not mean that it is common. It also means that it kept happening again and again. So whenever there was a discussion happening, it was brought up many times. So it was a common discussion, a reoccurring discussion among sleep scientists about 2 decades ago that sleep was performed by the brain in the interest of the brain. So sleep was performed it was a function of the brain, and the brain was doing it for its own benefit. Basically, that was a common refrain, a common discussion kept happening again and again. In other examples, you can see that in discussions about the importance of exercise, a common refrain is regular physical activity leads to better health. So this is a common advice in this regard. For example, this is a very common advice that we give to patients that regular physical activity will lead to better health. Similarly, in romantic comedies, one common theme or one reoccurring theme is the theme of love conquering all obstacles. So that's how we use the collocation, a common refrain. In the interest of is another collocation. And when I say that I did something in the interest of someone else, that means I did a task to benefit this other person or to benefit this other thing for the interest of this other person or thing. For example, when I say we cancel the event in the interest of saving money, it means to achieve the goal of saving money or to save money, we canceled the event. Similarly, in the interest of safety, wear a helmet when riding a bike. So that means to ensure safety or to make sure that you are safe while riding a bike, you should wear a helmet. And lastly, in the interest of fairness, take turns playing the game. So that there can be fairness or to ensure that there is fairness while you are playing, take turns. And in the paragraph that we have, a common refrain among sleep scientists about 2 decades ago was that sleep was performed by the brain in the interest of the brain. So that means sleep was actually performed by the brain for its own benefit. So that brain could benefit something from it. Maybe brain required a much needed rest by sleeping. We don't know, but this was definitely done by the brain so that it could benefit itself and not somebody else. The word elaborate means to explain or to develop something even more by providing more detail or maybe more examples or more information. It could be any of these things. When you use the verb elaborate as an action word, you use it to ask for either more information or for more details on a particular topic, or you ask the other person to give you or to develop that idea even further. So, for example, could you please elaborate on your proposal? So this person has received a proposal and he or she wants more details. So this would be an appropriate verb to use here. Adjective. When you use it as an adjective with another noun, That means you're trying to say that it is more detailed. For example, the wedding ceremony was quite elaborate with many decorations and flowers. So that means the wedding ceremony actually had many details. So, similarly, that wasn't a fully elaborated theory, which is the sentence we have used in the paragraph, by the way. So, it means that it was not a very detailed theory, or it was not a theory which had more information, more examples, or in other words, more detailed. Even though it was not wrong, that theory, but it was not completely developed, it did not have many examples, or it did not have more information, which it should have had. Other than that, you can also use the word elaborate in your OET speaking. For those students who want to get more marks in their lexical resources, elaborate is going to be a very good word in your dictionary. You can use this to ask for more detail or more information about a particular topic. So, for example, here the patient says that I have been experiencing some pain in my abdomen. So, as a nurse, you could ask them, could you elaborate on the type of pain you're feeling? So here you're asking more information about the type of pain the patient is feeling. And when the patient says, well, my appetite hasn't been the same lately, you can see that from this sentence, I don't really understand what the patient means. Have their appetite decreased? Have their appetite increased? Do they not feel hungry anymore? Or are they feeling hunger for specific kinds of food, right? We need more details. We need more specifics. So for that reason, the doctor here can say, can you elaborate on any changes you have noticed in your appetite? So those changes could refer to anything, decrease or increase in appetite. If you are somebody who just says that I do not want to use the word elaborate in my OET speaking, rather, is there something simpler that I can use? Well, then you can always use, could you please tell me more about this? That always works. Just like cognitive impairment or the word cognitive itself, the word cognition here refers to the process of thinking and understanding. It involves activities like learning something, remembering something, to be able to solve many problems. It's basically how your brain makes sense of the world around you. And that entire process is what we call cognition. It is something which is commonly used in reading passages when you're discussing cognitive abilities, cognitive decline, cognitive impairment. So you should be fully aware of what it means actually. Messed up is one collocation I think us Indians also use a lot when we are speaking, even remotely in English. So, messed up, even though you are already aware of it, I still want to bring it to your notice for those students who are not completely sure about its meaning. So, it is a collocation and it refers to a situation or a thing or a person being in a bad, problematic, or incorrect state. What I mean by this is it can be used in different contexts, in different situations. For example, if you made a mistake or did something incorrectly, you can say, I messed up. Example, I really messed up the presentation by forgetting my notes. So when you forgot your notes, you messed up. You did not do something that you were supposed to be doing. You made a mistake. So that is why you can use the word messed up here. If I forgot to actually wake up for my exam on time, I would say, oh, shit, I messed up, right? Similarly, if you are in a state of disorder or disarray, then you can also use the word messed up. What I mean by this is you can use this to describe a place, a situation as well. For example, the room was all messed up after the party. That means it wasn't in the most neat and organized manner. So any kind of disorganization, you can actually refer with the word messed up as well. Emotionally or mentally troubled is also a term that you can use for here. For example, you can say he's really messed up after the accident. That means emotionally, he's not in the right state. Emotionally, he is in the state of disorder, disarray. He is not sure. So he's really messed up after the accident, is another example. Now, if I go to the paragraph, it says that that wasn't a fully elaborated theory. That means it wasn't a very detailed or one kind of theory which had more information, but it wasn't wrong, but it wasn't really incorrect in any way. It was correct, but didn't have more details. Numerous recent studies have hinted at the purpose of sleep. So many recent studies have actually sort of indicated that the purpose of sleep was actually what? That neurological function and cognition are messed up during sleep loss. So basically, they are saying that your neurological function, your ability to think, process information, all of these things are completely messed up. So they're not working properly as they should be. They are working in a state which is not great, in a bad position, in a problematic way they are working during your sleep loss. So if you have not gotten enough sleep, your neurological function and cognition are influenced negatively, they are impacted negatively, with the patient's reaction on time, mood, and judgment all suffering if they are kept awake too long. So basically, if you have not slept for a long time, if you want to sleep, but you have been unnecessarily, forcibly kept awake for too long, your cognition and neurological function is not going to work properly. They're going to be messed up. They're going to work in a problematic manner. They're going to be impacted negatively. Why or how exactly? Well, that is due to sleep loss, and it will affect your reaction, it will affect your judgment, it will react your mood, how fast you react to something. All of this will be impacted negatively. So that was it for today's video on reading vocabulary. I hope you found it helpful in improving your vocabulary knowledge and improving your collocations, understanding, and their knowledge as well. We're going to keep uploading more such videos every month, every week, if I try really hard. So I hope you will stay tuned for the next video on OET reading vocabulary. And by the way, here's a summary for all that we have learned today. Thank you. Bye bye.